The lawyer, Mr. Abernathy, cleared his throat, the sound echoing in the stuffy, wood-paneled office. My cousin Marcus sat across from me, a smug, self-satisfied smirk playing on his lips. My Aunt Carol, his mother, gave my hand a pat that was meant to feel sympathetic but felt like a victor's gloat. They were all waiting for the final nail to be hammered into my heart. The lawyer began to read my beloved grandmother's last will and testament. And when he read the final line, declaring Marcus the sole heir to everything she owned, I didn't just hear words. I heard the sound of my entire life being stolen by the people I was forced to call family. If you have ever been betrayed by your own blood, if you've ever had your love and loyalty thrown back in your face for the sake of greed, then you have found your home. Welcome to Heart in Uniform. We are the community that believes the ties of love are stronger than the bonds of blood, and that true justice knows no family discount. Show your support for every survivor of family betrayal by hitting that like button and subscribe so you never miss a moment of payback. Now, let me tell you how a hidden journal and my grandmother's quietest friend helped me burn my greedy cousin's empire to the ground. My grandmother Eleanor was my world. After my parents moved for work, I lived with her for 5 years through high school and college. I wasn't her caregiver, we were partners. We'd watch old black and white movies. I'd help her with her garden, and she would tell me stories of her life. She was sharp, funny, and full of grace. Her house wasn't just a building. It was a library of my happiest memories. My cousin Marcus, on the other hand, treated Grandma Eleanor like a distant, wealthy relative you visit once a year on a holiday. He'd breeze in, flash his expensive watch, charm her for an hour, and then disappear for another 12 months. His parents, my Aunt Carol and Uncle Richard, enabled it. They'd boast about Marcus's important job in the city, always making sure to contrast it with my quiet, local life. My own mom and dad saw their game, but they always preached peace. Family is family, they'd say. I learned that day that family can be the most dangerous word in the world. About 6 months ago, Grandma Eleanor's health began to fail, and suddenly, Marcus was a constant presence. He'd show up with groceries, offering to help with her finances and legal papers. Aunt Carol was ecstatic, telling everyone how Marcus had finally stepped up. I saw it for what it was, not a change of heart, but a hostile takeover. He started isolating her. He'd tell me she was too tired for visitors when I'd call. He installed a new nurse, a woman named Linda, who answered to him. He was building a fortress around her, and I was on the outside. Then she was gone. The funeral was a blur of crocodile tears from Aunt Carol and a stoic, triumphant performance from Marcus, which brings us back to the lawyer's office. Mr. Abernathy read the new will, signed just 2 weeks before Eleanor's death, in a shaky, unfamiliar signature. The house, the savings, the heirloom saw of it went to Marcus. He was to oversee a small trust for me, a pittance that was a final insult. As the lawyer finished, Marcus looked at me, that smirk now a full-blown grin. He had won. But as I looked at his smug face, grief was replaced by a cold, diamond-hard certainty. My grandmother would never do this, not willingly. That night, my best friend Sarah let me rage. She let me cry. Then she looked at me and said, "Don't let him get away with it, Clara. Your grandmother was a fighter. You have to fight for her." The fight began in the attic of my parents' house, surrounded by boxes of my grandmother's things. I was looking for anything, an old letter, a note, a sign. I found a small, ornate key in her old jewelry box. It didn't fit anything I recognized. Then I remembered her stories of a writing desk from her childhood. Buried under a dusty sheet in the corner was a beautiful old mahogany desk. The key slid into the lock of a hidden side drawer. It turned. Inside, there wasn't another will. It was better. It was my grandmother's personal journal. For weeks, I read her elegant script, her private thoughts, and then I found the final entries. Her handwriting was frail, but her words were fired. She wrote about Marcus, how he'd confuse her about her finances, how he'd bring her documents to sign, telling her they were just medical forms, how Aunt Carol would call and whisper poison in her ear about how I was just waiting for her to die. It was all there. A detailed chronicle of psychological warfare, undue influence. But how could I prove it? A journal wasn't enough. In her last coherent entry, she wrote, "My roses are dying. Marcus fired Mr. Henderson. He was the only one who saw the truth, the only one I could trust. Mr. Henderson, her gardener of 30 years. It took me a week to find him. He was a kind, elderly man living in a small cottage across town. I sat in his living room and told him everything. He just nodded, his face grim. I saw it, miss," he said, his voice heavy. "I saw him yelling at her when he thought no one was around. I heard him on the phone with his mother, laughing about how you'd be getting a nice, big nothing. He told me to my face that my services were no longer needed, because the new owner wanted a more modern landscape. He agreed to tell the lawyer everything he saw and heard. He was my silver bullet. I called Mr. Abernathy and requested a new meeting, all parties present. Marcus and his family arrived looking annoyed, like I was wasting their time. They sat down, radiating arrogance. I said nothing. I simply placed my grandmother's journal on the polished table. Then Mr. Henderson walked in. I watched the color drain from Marcus's face. I watched Aunt Carol's jaw go slack. Mr. Abernathy read my grandmother's final entries aloud. Then Mr. Henderson told his story. The office was silent except for the sound of their greed collapsing in on itself. The will was contested and thrown out. The original will, the one that left me her home and her legacy, was reinstated. But my revenge wasn't complete. Armed with the journal and Mr. Henderson's testimony, the state opened an investigation into Marcus and my aunt for elder fraud and financial abuse. They didn't just lose the inheritance, they lost their reputation, their standing, and their freedom. I now live in my grandmother's house. It's quiet here, peaceful. I'm surrounded by her memory, not as a victim, but as the warrior she taught me to be. Family betrayal cuts the deepest. Has greed ever turned someone you love into a monster? Share your story in the comments. Your voice is a warning to others. And if you believe that true legacies are built on love, not lies, hit like and our channel. Welcome home.